Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabados of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service, jbiztechphilly.com, and now columnist for the Jewish Press.
And I'm having a lot of fun doing all of that, so it's quite rewarding. And someone else with a lot of titles and very busy and doing a lot is our guest, the town supervisor of the town of Colonie, Paula Mahan. Welcome back to the Jewish View.
Nice to be here.
Well, first we have to give you a mazel tov for your re-election over here. So, I mean, that's, how many years are you there now?
This is my 9th year.
Oh, that's a lot.
2008 you were.
2008 was my first year,
right.
yes. And so this is my beginning of my 5th term, my 9th year. They're 2-year terms.
So you're already starting your re-election campaign.
I take one day at a time and I concentrate on what I need to do for my job, and that's what I want people to recognize, the work I do.
Looking back from when you first took the reins of the town government to where it is today, do you see a big difference? Do you see that there's really a change, or are you trying to just keep things going, or are there changes maybe the average person doesn't see because they're behind the scenes?
I think there's been a tremendous amount of change, and I think
for the good or the bad?
For the good.
Oh,
and
sorry, I just had to ask.
I think that a lot of our residents and business owners recognize it, but more importantly, our employees recognize it because they're part of it. And that's what makes it all work, because it's not, one person can't do the job alone.
It seems to me that, I mean, again, tell me the facts, but it just seems that Colonie is booming in a way. I mean, you see Wolf Road, and, and if there's a new store coming up, they say, well, we're going to put it around, in Colonie. It seems like it's more like the center, where a business and a hotel would want to be. It seems like they're always, like it's a center point of the capital district.
Yeah, and it basically is, because we're in the middle of Albany, Schenectady, Troy, and Saratoga County. So to get anywhere, you've got to go through Colonie. And the other, there's a couple of things that really draw the businesses to Colonie, as well as the residents. But on the business end, we have the Albany International Airport's located in Colonie. We have a very good tax rate with excellent services. And we have a high rating for safety. And we have excellent schools, which draw a lot of the business owners even to move into town. They could move, anywhere around town, but many of them choose to live in town.
But that's but you have two high schools. You have North Colony High School and South Colony.
Yes, as well as private schools.
This is part of your bailiwick, because you were an educator.
Yes.
Before you were supervisor.
Yes, I was an educator in North Colony schools.
So which is better, South or North? Because I always hear, one has the bad kids, one has the good kids, and I never get it right.
They're both very good. They when you teach, you realize that there are so many kids that are doing good things within any school. It's a matter of a lot of parental support in North and South Colony. We're very fortunate. The parents have a tremendous amount of support. The staff, I know the staff in North Colony, they go above and beyond and until the job is done. And I've met a lot of people from South Colony since being supervisor. I'm in both places. And Superintendent John Buhner there is doing a fantastic job. Met a lot of the principals. And
so when they do the rankings of schools, who comes out higher? Does North Colony come out higher?
North Colony is usually higher.
Okay.
Not a lot higher, but they're usually in the top group with some of the other suburban schools. Bethlehem's usually up there, Niskayuna.
See, it's interesting because like town of Bethlehem has one high school. Guilderland has one high school. Albany has one high school, but Colonie has 2 high schools.
Yeah, Colonie has 2 high schools. It's been like that, and I think part of the reason is because it's spread out so far. The town is over about 57 square miles. So you could have someone living way down by
Manans or
Manans,
something, yeah.
Manans is part of the town.
Yeah, I
They,
know.
the Cohoes, Watervliet, they could be living at the Albany city
Cohoes
line.
is part of Colonie?
Cohoes is not part of Colony, Manans is.
Yeah, so you're
Right, but
all the way
But
up.
the
to-
Cohoes
some-
zip code,
zip
we
code,
have
yeah.
a zip code in Cohoes that is
12047.
the town of Colony.
Yeah.
If
12047
yeah.
is, and that's like the Bout area.
The Bout area,
Right.
yes, way up north, right to the Cohoes city line. Now, when I went to school in Schenectady City Schools, we had 2 high schools. We had Lytton and Mount Pleasant.
Right now they have one.
Now they have 1,
Right.
yes.
And Clifton Park has one. Any chance that you're going to combine the school and make it more efficient?
That would be up to the school boards, each school board.
That's a tough
but,
political
yeah,
decision, isn't it?
I don't think they will in at least in the near future. There's
Because-
no talk of it.
It'll be a brouhaha, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think when Schenectady merged the 2 schools, I think that was a big change for everybody. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
Well, you
to
see
all
the
of it.
transportation, I feel bad for these kids, that you get on buses and some kids, I live, of course, like in Bethlehem, they 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot for a kid, to
Be on a
transport.
bus.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
And the population with the 2 schools, they both have a strong population, so it makes it much more manageable having the two districts in a town this size.
I just see that you're a former PTA president of the Forts Ferry Elementary School.
Yes,
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that's your area, Forts Ferry is your,
yes,
okay. And you've been in Latham, you lived in Latham for 41 years?
yes.
Wow.
42
Maybe
in
more.
September. It'll be
Okay.
42 in September, yes.
No, we
And you
talk-
have 2 children?
2 adult children
Two
and
adult
2
children.
grandchildren.
Okay. And how's your son Paul doing?
He's good.
He's-
He's good.
Back on track?
Yeah, he's doing well.
Because he had a rough patch there for a little bit.
Yeah, he did, but he's doing fine.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that,
Yeah.
get a quick update. I didn't want to belabor it, but
Yeah,
I just
he's
wanted to
doing
ask you
fine.
about it.
Let's
Okay.
talk about the budget, money over here.
Money.
How's, it's always important. Every city in the state, it's always a big issue.
Yeah.
The county, because of course we have so many government officials here and that's always the issue, people with their
Money.
taxes, or are you balancing the budget? Even in the federal government, it's always the issue. So how's, you would think Colonie, like I said at the beginning of the show, that it's doing so well. There's no slums either.
Well,
Why? I
We have
never
a-
saw any.
We have the
Running.
demographics have changed a lot. We have a lot of diversity in town. As far as financially, when I came in, the town was in terrible financial condition. We're back on our feet. We're building our fund balance.
Mm-hmm.
We paid off all our bills that had to be paid, all the deficits.
and the reserve fund is at what level now?
It's about 3.5 million, almost 3.5
And what
million.
would you like to see it at to really be comfortable?
Well, we started with 0, so
No, I
anything
understand,
is
but-
good. At this point,
But the controller gives you advice.
yeah, we're working towards the controller's recommendation of
Which-
4 million.
Okay.
So we're almost there.
You're 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, we're almost there. And, we just want to keep building
Yeah.
beyond that. Everything you do costs a tremendous amount of money. We're putting a tremendous amount of money into infrastructure. We have a 10-year plan in place for our sewer department. We have a 5 to 7-year plan in place for our water department.
It's
What's
important,
your-
the sewers. I just want to go on there because obviously that's a big issue in the Capital District. And we've had other people, actually we had the mayor of Troy come in and saying, even beforehand, he warned us that he says there's troubles there. And, well, obviously we all know now there are troubles there. So,
Yeah.
that the
Aging
sewer is a big,
infrastructure.
yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see manhole covers popping off, and we don't see, these stories that we hear about in downtown Albany or in Troy.
Yeah.
While Albany and Troy are older cities or older municipalities than Colonie is, you have a newer or better infrastructure below ground.
We have, it's newer in a sense that we're just a younger town, but
Right.
still it's been around for a long time, so it's aging.
So you're learning from what these older municipalities are facing and maybe getting a handle on it ahead of time or reacting earlier?
We started a couple years ago. Our engineers did analysis of the water department, all the lines, all the systems at the plant, and we did the same thing with our sewer department. Did an analysis as to how long it would take, as to what area is the neediest, and prioritize the jobs out for the next 10 years. And we did the same thing with our roads. We did an analysis of our roads. We're in the 7th year of paving since I started. So it's, you have to plan ahead.
I always know where the Albany Colony line is because the Colony roads are so much smoother.
Yeah, you know, when I say, you know, it costs a lot of money, it's millions and millions of dollars.
Really?
I mean, each project could be, they could be anywhere from 500,000 to, you know,
Like a
$3.5
section of
million.
road, that's what you're talking about, what project?
Roads are, depends on the size of the road. A road could take $30,000 to pave. It could cost $190,000, $200,000 to pave. Just depends on the size and the amount of work, how bad, you know, how badly.
How big is your
needs to be
budget
repaired.
for the town?
We're about 86 million.
86 million, okay, so less than 10%, about, the controller wants to see 5% in the
Yeah.
reserve fund, is that what,
Yeah.
approximately?
When I came on, the budget, the actual numbers were about 91 million. So we're below
Albany's
started.
budget, City of Albany budget is $180 million.
180 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And they're-
interesting, because
and they're
it's
running-
double, and they're just about the same population.
And they're
give or
running
take.
$12 million deficit.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing wrong here?
we run a very lean government. You
Yeah,
know?
but don't you talk to Kathy Sheehan, girl to girl, and just say, you know, this is...
You know, she walked into a tough situation, and
So did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. And you really have to take a look at everything that you have in town. You have to take a look at all your assets. You've got to take a look at all duplication, triplication of the, you know, doing the same job 2-3 times. You have to take a look at your staff as to as they age out.
Yeah.
Do you replace? Do you reduce through attrition? You have to cross-train people. When I came, a lot of people they'd be in a position they would just do only that work that they've always done. And now we've cross-trained them so they work together, help each other, they share resources, they share equipment, and it's much more efficient than it was. But when I first came on, we really had to cut back just to survive. And I think within that year and a half, we probably cut close to $8 million in waste, just sheer waste.
Just like coordinating services, that's where you're really...
It's,
Well, other things
there's
too,
other
that
things too, you know, we coordinated services. We got to a point where I had gone down to New York, to Moody's, to our bond raters, and it was critical that the town wasn't rated down another time, because it would have gone bankrupt. So they were very good. They worked with us. We worked out a 10-year financial plan. They supported it as long as we came up with ideas to get back on track.
So one of the more creative ideas that you had a 1-year tax hike.
We had a it was called a one-time tax, and what it was.
Which went away after...
After it was 1 year.
1 year,
Yeah,
right.
That's
So
why.
that's what it said,
That's
it's a
why.
1 year
That's what it
tax.
said, one time.
Yeah.
And people
Well,
said,
one time could mean that it's one time permanently.
Right.
But I just want to make sure people know that it's
yeah,
one time
and that was
temporary.
That's an important point, because people would say, well, how do we know it's going to be one time? And I said,
Trust
well,
me.
it's going to be on one line, a separate line on your bill. It's not going to be mixed in with your
Okay.
property tax or anything else. So it's going to be one line, you're going to see it there, and then the next year
won't
and
see
thereafter you won't see it. And I said, that's all I can tell you. You have to trust me, otherwise,
You elected
you
me
know.
to trust me and trust me, otherwise don't elect me again.
So that's what we
That's
did.
it, yeah.
We raised about, we kept it very manageable.
Right.
We raised about $5.5 million, which gave us some working capital to
Move
stop.
forward.
What was happening is money was being borrowed previously to pay bills and salaries, and Moody's
don't
clearly
do
said,
that.
you can't do
No.
that. And so I said, well, I just got here. Will you give us a chance? And so we did, and it gave us some time to get on our feet, and
Now that you're in the 8th year of the 10-year plan with Moody's.
9th year, yeah.
Right, okay, it's coming up close. How much on track are you? Did you meet with Moody's again recently? Are they thrilled? Do they send you thank you notes?
Yeah,
that
we-
you're doing a good
No,
job?
they don't send you any thank you notes. No, we basically accomplished all of our goals within, it was within about 6-7 years. We had met, all of our goals. Some of them are ongoing, which we keep going. And the biggest one, we never set an amount, but that we were going to build the reserve fund. And so I'd say our biggest task that we continue with is continuing to raise money to put into the reserve fund.
Yeah, not to live beyond your means.
Oh, yes.
And then,
And you can tell by our budget, for a town our size, 86 million, that's a very lean budget.
How do you have people running against you when you have this powerful financial record, and you still get opponents, and you get people voting against you? I mean, because you can have an opponent who doesn't get more than 3 or 4% of the vote. But I'm just wondering, especially in Colonie, where the Republican Party has really gone away almost. I mean,
Well, it's that's why we call it a democracy. We live in a
Well,
democracy. People
yes.
are funny when it comes to politics. I think to a lot of people, it's a game, and just like a football game
Yeah.
or a baseball game. And
I don't think anyone should run unopposed, but you got to keep bringing up what you just told us.
yeah,
you
I
have to be promoting yourself. You got to be selfishly promoting yourself, promoting yourself. So I'm just thinking, what would your opponent say to counter that? I mean, there must be something that they might perceive that you're not doing. I mean,
they basically have the right to they can say anything they want. It doesn't have to be true.
Okay.
They can say anything they want, and then you have to prove that that's not the truth. But it's unfortunate. I think that mentality is.
Are you winning
Not
by
a good way to
wider
go.
margins? Are you winning by?
Yeah, I mean, this last time I basically won just on I had enough votes on the Democratic line to just
Right.
win with that.
But is it 2-1 that you were winning by, or?
I'm trying to think.
It-
I think this time it was about. I think I had about 53-54% of the
okay.
vote.
Because it's interesting, when Mayor Corning was mayor of Albany for 42 years, everyone would say if he got below 70%, that was a close race.
Yeah. And there's a huge difference in the voters in Albany itself and Colonie, the suburb. You get a lot of game players in politics. That's the one thing, I dislike. I came from teaching, and I'm goal oriented.
Collaborative.
I'm very collaborative. I give. I mean, our people. We have very good people that work for us, and they do a tremendous job. And I just I focus on the task at hand, and I have to kind of just keep the politics out of it.
Yeah, no, I see that. And, in fact, you're running every 2 years is tough also, because
very
you always
difficult.
have people, looking for for their next level up the food chain.
Yeah. So
So-
yeah, it's It's a different business, that's for sure.
Let me ask you something that came up, and it's not meant, again, to belabor it, but when we talk about politics, how do you manage the perception of pay to play? And when people donate to your campaign, which is a necessary evil, you know, but they are complimenting you for your work,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they're doing business with the town, and then they say, you know, it's just really tough to run a campaign where you don't have the people doing business with the town not contributing, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that do business in town live in town. They're very supportive. There are people that will ask, you know, gee, if you have a function, can I be invited or
Yeah.
whatever? And it's open to everybody. It's
Right.
not one of those things where you know, anyone is excluded. It's not that kind of a thing.
Have you ever given money back where you felt that it was inappropriate to accept a contribution?
I've never had anyone that has acted in an inappropriate way, but one thing that, you know, I'm very strict on is, you know, I have to have a treasurer to handle all the monies. I don't handle any of that.
Thank goodness.
And the other part of it is, you know, he works very hard to follow every piece of the law.
Right.
You know, everything to the letter of the law. And some people, there are cycles, election cycles, and the law will tell you you can't donate more than this in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
If someone does, then he would send it back because that wouldn't be appropriate. So, you know, it's the kind of thing where people, you know, they want to come. They want to. They're very supportive, and they clearly say, "I like the job you're doing. I want to support you. I hope that you will continue."
But perception becomes reality, and that's what I was just wondering. You know, Hirschberg, a Jewish firm, we're on the Jewish view, so a Jewish firm. You know, I think it's a low amount. It was $7,700 that they gave you at one point. You know, over time.
Yeah, that was
And,
probably over like 6 or 7 years.
You know, and then he, you know, he just said that, you know, he doesn't give to ensure. Daniel Hirschberg, who's the president, said that he doesn't give to ensure the success of his Albany firm's projects, which include townhomes in Fogarty Farms.
Yeah, Fogarty. Yeah, actually, that
And on
project
Albany
didn't.
Shaker Road.
The project didn't go through.
It didn't go through.
No.
Peregrine Assisted Living Center in South Family Drive,
I think that's a new one he's working on.
and an apartment complex at Hudson Preserve on Troy Schenectady Road.
Yeah,
Route 7.
he's had a history of working in the
Yeah.
town for years.
Because
with,
he is like City of Albany's architect, you know, go-to guy. You know.
Okay. Yeah. No, he. You know, I had people when I first came on that actually would. You know, they'd have a project they want to propose to the planning board, and they had asked me, you know, who would I like them to use, and I said, excuse me, and they said, who? And they said, what, you know, what architect or what engineer? I said, it's your project. You can use whoever you want. You know, that's your choice.
Good answer.
We don't have anything to do with that, and we don't.
Well, in Albany, they say, well, someone who appears before the zoning board all the time is Daniel Hirschberg, and then they go, oh, okay, now I know. You know,
Yeah.
they tell you a hint. You know, they don't tell you use him, but they say, oh, the person who appears before us all the time. In fact, I went to one guy in Bethlehem, and who I had known when I was through the Republican committee, and I said to him, you know, would you come do some survey work on my house, because I wanted to know where my property lines were. He goes, I don't know, you better call Dan Hirschberg, because I don't really want to get involved in that. That's his territory. And I'm like, no, come on, I know you. You know, like, come over, just do this for me.
We have a number of people that propose projects in town. Some of them are
It's
out of
just-
state or wherever, but and as you can see, you know, Dan Hirschberg is a very nice man. He does a very thorough job. He's a gentleman. He's a pleasure, you know, for the planning board to work with, and zoning board.
And he's a loyal Democrat.
I don't know what he is.
No, he is.
I really
Yeah.
don't know.
No.
But he's just a gentleman, and he's very, very thorough. And he's had projects that have been denied. And that's because the projects either didn't meet the zoning or weren't compatible with the neighborhoods or whatever. So the standards are very high. The bar has been raised in that respect. And, you know, it's the kind of thing.
He complimented you. He said that he liked what your administration is doing. It's made it simpler and easier for his clients to get their projects passed.
Yeah, it's a very fair process. When I talked earlier about duplication and triplication in the planning process, I mean, that was really cumbersome. I mean, people were being asked to come back year after year, which isn't fair to the people. So it's a very fair process. We have one of the best economies in the capital region. We have some excellent development in town. Most of it is redevelopment of vacant or underutilized sites that were kind of falling apart. So the town is really looking nice. It's,
and the Central Avenue corridor, that's coming up?
That's coming up as well. We've got some nice development happening there. And Route 2, the old Route 7, Route 2, that's coming back to life. A lot of good things are happening.
Okay, and what do you see coming up in Colonie, you know, that we should be paying attention to? I don't know how much more you can develop Route 9.
Yeah, no, we're,
but what do
yeah.
you see, but in terms of not just development, but in terms of your future, do you?
My main goal is, you know, to keep on the path we're on, to be able to maintain. As I said, we're very involved, very heavy into infrastructure. Those projects keep us extremely busy.
Are you grooming anyone to be your successor?
You know, that's up to the
No, it's
the
up to you
Democratic
too.
Committee.
It's up
That's
to
up
you
to
too.
them to do that.
It's-
Well, I would certainly put my 2 cents in if I felt, you know, someone was prepared for the job or unprepared. But you know, it's amazing. In a 2-year term, you really don't even have time to think about any of that. It's so busy, and you begin each day. And in the town of Colonie, there are always so many events, and we've got 12 wonderful volunteer fire departments. We've got 2 school districts. We've got all kinds of businesses in town. So you literally can be going 7 days a week and evenings. It's very, very busy, and I just focus on getting the job done.
Yeah, but at some point, you're going to say, I've had enough. I mean, even Fred Field, after 30
Yes.
years, said, I've had enough, I'm
Yeah.
moving on. So.
And I've had a long history in North Colony schools as well.
Right.
That was my first career.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's you know, I've been working for a long time,
Coming up.
and I hope at some point when I leave, I just really want someone that is dedicated to doing the job the right way, and someone that will work with everyone, and not so you know, this party business where you only work with certain people. You have to be able to work with everybody.
Okay.
All right, excellent. Listen, well, thank you very much
My
for
pleasure.
coming back and giving us a report card of Colonie, but you're doing a good job, so keep
Thank
on
you.
coming and keep on doing a good job and do it with good health.
Thank you very
Continued
much.
success, really.
Thank
Yes.
you.